Hi, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Pause and Effect Quick Play. I'm your host CJ, and today I'm going to be learning some more RPG Maker. So let me go ahead and get this playlist set up here. Okay, so I've updated the description to include the music that's being played in the background today. This is the let me go look at the title again. This album slash playlist is called Soothing Breeze, provided to Spotify and YouTube by the Lo-Fi Girl YouTube channel, Lo-Fi Records, Lo-Fi Publishing, all the way back in 2021. So I'm going to turn this down just a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. That looks marginally better, at the very least. Okay, so I should have my YouTube capture set up so that it's capturing this tutorial. Let me just turn this up a little more.
So, good news everybody. Today's tutorial is going to be very simple because we're going over weapons and armors. As you can see, we're in the weapons tab right now, and we're going to go create a new weapon right now to be given to our protagonist. So let's create a new weapon called...
I admit I did a little bit of this as I tried to experiment around with RPG Maker MV off stream, but this is one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, you never know exactly what you're gonna run into here.
Old cane, oh, where's our cane? Gun. We'll give it an icon of a gun icon. As you can find
I'll do this
right here, we can go to our description. We'll say, this is a shooting weapon. Be careful with it, because you gotta be careful with guns, you know. Anyway, enough messing around. Let's go through what each and all of these little things we can do with ours are, whatever, etc. Weapon type. You can define all different weapon types in the system tab, or actually types tab, I believe. And then in here, you can make sure there's different weapon types. And of course, each type is going to have different effects, such as some types might give you special ability to use certain skills, other types may give you certain benefits for being a certain actor, all these crazy stuffs. For the time being, just set certain basic groups you can input each weapon into. For example, our gun is going to go into the gun weapon type, believe it or not. Furthermore, you also set a price. As you can probably guess, this is what's going to be used to sell it in the shop. We'll set to 400. The animation, we'll say the animation when used is going to be a piercing effect, so we'll do pierce effect. And now here comes the parameter changes. Now these are going to be the stat changes that occur when an actor equips this gun. So when the actor equips the gun, those means they gain 20 attack, but they say lose about 10 luck. So negative 10 luck for that, but plus 20 attack for that. And that's really all I have to do. You can use these to manipulate if you're going to gain defense, magic attack, lose agility, lose max HP, etc, etc. Once again, the armor is going to be very similar. Let's create a new armor right now and go do that. So let's first find an icon this time so we can get some ideas. So let's find a wrench. Yes, a wrench is going to be one of our little armor.
You said a wrench. Oh shit, I didn't realize. I forgot I had a queue loaded up. I am so sorry about that. It was playing Overlord by Anna's Okay. My bad. From when I was using my Spotify earlier. Okay. So where's that wrench icon? There's the wrench.
We've been equipped. So wrench, description, place in bag for better defense. As you see right there, we'll set it to an armor type. Once again, these can all be defined within the types thing right there. So we'll set it to light armor. The equipment type, we can set the shield, head, body, or accessory. It's gonna be an accessory. Next, we'll set the price to make so whatever it's gonna be sold in shops for, so 30 gold. The parameter changes. For what the parameters are gonna be changed to when an actor equips this weapon, item, armor. So we'll set so the defense gets 100. 100 more defense when we're equipping the wrench. And that's really all there is for weapons and armors. Let's actually go back to our map and make sure this person right here gives us our wrench and our, what it was, gun. So all you do is go here, go into the events, change weapons or change armors to give weapons or armor. So we'll change weapons, we'll increase our gun by 1, hit OK, and that'll be good to go. We'll go in here, we'll change armors, we're going to set it so we have a wrench, and that'll be good to go. We'll go in here, we'll change armors, we're going to set it so we have a wrench increased by 1 and add it into our equipment.
Got it. Okay. So increase our gun. Change armor. Wrench. Increase by 1. So I need to do some things here. You received a gun. Okay, shh, it's a secret. You received 2 high potions, you received a gun, you received a wrench. Don't tell anyone.
And that should be good to go. Let's also add a dialogue that says, gained a gun and wrench. Yeah. Now once we go into the game, we'll talk to the person.
Okay. That's the wrong window. I just want to make sure that all of this is popping up. I do find it funny, and maybe you've seen it's a secret. You received 2 high potions, you received a gun, you received a wrench. Don't tell anyone. Okay, item. Okay, we got a gun, we got a wrench. Perfect. Okay, where's that link again?
Person, we'll get our gun and our wrench, we'll hit okay,
Oopsie.
We'll go into our inventory, we'll go into our items, we'll go to our weapons, we'll find our gun, we'll go into our armor, we'll find our wrench, and it'll be like, yes, we got our armor, we got our weapon, we are good to go. Let's equip it onto our actor. So we'll go to equip, we'll equip it onto our actor, so we'll do equip weapon, and it's not there. We go to equip, say, our accessory, we can equip the wrench, and as you can see, removing it, so when we highlight it, it says we're going to gain 100 defense right here, so we can equip it. If we try to remove it, we're going to go back to little 46 defense, which means nothing. But let's focus on something for a second. When we go to sword, we can't equip the gun for whatever reason. And that's because weapons are set into groups, and these groups define whether or not an actor can equip this weapon. So what am I talking about? Let's go back to the actors and find out. So if we go back to our actors or our classes for this example, we can make it so a certain actor or class can use a certain weapon. So if we go over here, we'll see this this class, hero, can equip a sword, the general armor, light armor, and a small shield. Since wrench fell into light armor section, that meant that our actor right here could equip the wrench. But this class hero can't equip, say, a weapon that is a gun. So they can't equip the weapon gun thingy, unless we make it so they can. And to do so, guess what we have to do? We have to go all the way to this equip section right here. We make so equip weapon, gun, and now make it so this class, the hero class, can equip gun weapons. So now back in the game, if we go to equipped once again and go to our protagonist, go to equipped, we'll find that, hey, now we can equip one of these guns. It'll increase our attack by 10. We'll equip it and we'll say, hey, now we have a gun. Yeah! And for the most part, that's really all there is for weapons and armors. Just make it so you have certain weapons, certain armors, make it so certain classes can or cannot equip these weapons or armors to make it so certain limits or not limits at all. Perhaps you want to go down to the types and make it so there's only one type of armor, one type of weapon, and every actor can equip this weapon or armor, so you don't have to worry about having all these crazy different limits and
So that's where I changed that. Okay. So dagger, sword, flail, axe, whip, cane, bow, crossbow, gun, claw, glove, spear. So what am I missing here? Okay, actually, you know what? I'm not going to worry about this for right now. I'm just going to let that chill for a moment.
Fusioniness in your game.
At least
On
for
the
a
other
little
hand,
while.
you can make so it's 100 types of weapons, 100 types of armors, 100 types of equipment types, and then use them to manipulate everything and make it so it's impossible to get anything. And it's up to you what you're going to do in your game. And that's all for this tutorial. I guess that's really it. So like if you like the video, subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, RPG Maker tutorial end.
Okay, so next one I'm gonna hit is this tutorial on states.
Now when it comes to creating your battles within your RPG Maker MV game.
Right, before I do that, I'm gonna pull this up. There. This new tutorial is referenced in the video description, so please refresh if you want to be able to see that.
There's one final thing you need to keep in mind, which is the states. No, not those states. I'm referring to the states which are these states. The passive effects, the basic abilities, the status effects. It's hard to explain, but you get the idea. Nearly every RPG has some form of states. For example, we have the knockout, which is what the actor is going to be afflicted with when they're knocked out. There's blind, which causes blindness and causes a hit rate to be lowered. There's confusion, rage, silence. Oh yeah, all this crazy. You get the idea just by looking at these states, what they do, and what they're meant to be. And in today's tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we can create our own state and what all these crazy little functions mean and do. So let's go to change maximum. Let's create another one. And let's get straight into it. We'll call this one my state. There we go. We'll choose an icon to be shown on.
I'm gonna do one better. I'm gonna call this one burned. So I need that fire icon.
The player when this state is afflicted on them, and we'll make it this flask right here, I guess. There we go. Now, part one, the most important part of a state is its restriction. Now, restriction forces a player to perform a certain action, or no actions at all, depending on what their restriction is. So, for example, if it's set to none, this player can select their moves and there won't be a problem. But if it's set to attack an enemy, as you see right here, then the player is not going to be able to choose any move. Instead, they're going to be forced to attack an enemy every turn when they have this state afflicted on them. Same applies to attack anyone.
None.
Attack an ally, so if you want to create some sort of confusion or mind manipulation state, you'd use these restrictions. And finally, is also cannot move, which just means this player's turn is going to be completely skipped when they have this state afflicted. Now, the way restrictions work is that if you have multiple states afflicted on a single actor, the one that's the lowest on the list takes priority. So for example, if you have one that says attack an enemy and another one that says attack an ally, the player is going to be forced to attack an ally since that one takes priority. Now, don't get that confused with the actual priority right here, which actually just refers to what's displayed. So what I mean by that is that this can be a number between 0 and 100, as you see right here, and depending on what has the highest priority, that's what's going to be shown on the actor. It doesn't necessarily mean that that actor doesn't have the states, it's just that there's a limited amount of spaces that the icons for the states can be shown, and so if you want a very important state to be shown on the actor, you'd give it a higher priority. But if you have something less important, say blindness, I mean, it is important, but if you have multiple different states, it would not be that high as compared to something like rage, which has 70, confusion, which has 75, sleep, which has whoa, it should be 90. I switched it for some reason. But yeah, sleep has a 90 priority. And so for our state, we'll set it to something like 20, which means if we have only this state, we'll see that we have it through this icon. But if we have like 5 or 6 states, we're probably not going to have any indication that this state has this state because the icon is not shown because the priority is that low. Did that make sense? Hopefully it did. Anyway, next comes this SV or side view battler things. What I mean by this is that the side view battlers can have special animations for if your player has this state afflicted on them. So for example, we have 4 motions. Normal, which is the default motion the player is going to be moving in. Abnormal, which means the player is going to have a different stance and movement while they're standing in a side view battler. We'll get into that later. You can see these just by testing them out. We have sleep, which means the player will be lying on the ground at sleeping when this is occurring. And dead, which means the player will just be lying there dead when this state is afflicted. Yep. And we also have the SV overlay, which is going to be a small animation that plays over top the side view battler when it's going. So you can see all the lists. You can just choose one, select silence, go into a battle, check out how it looks. We'll get into that later. But for now, let's continue. Now we have the removal conditions. Now this is going to be conditions in which, if the condition is true, the state gets removed. So a basic one you probably want to have for most of your states is remove at battle end, which means the state's going to be removed when the battle ends. Another one you have is remove by restriction, which means that if this state gets overridden, like its restriction, if it gets another state that has a higher restriction than this one, then this state, the lower state, is going to be removed completely if this is checked. If this is unchecked, it'll still keep the state on the actor even if the restriction is higher, and the other effects will still take into account, such as the traits and all the stuff here. Furthermore, we also have just a timer for how long it'll take till the state is removed. We can have action end, and this will be a certain amount of turns until it ends, or we can have turn end, and it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be identical pretty much, except action end means it'll be removed after the player acts in the turn, but turn end means it'll only be removed at the very end of the turn. And this is really just going to be based off of your mechanics in your game. Do you want all your states and everything to be prioritized based on each turn, or do you want everything to happen in the moment when it's happening? But anyway, like I said, if we set something like action end and we set this to like 3 and 3 and 7, this will mean that this state will be at least on the player for 3 turns, and it can have a maximum of 7 turns, and it can be anything in between. If we set something like 3-3, that means this state will be guaranteed to have 3 turns and only 3 turns when the player is afflicted with it. Now, down here we have the remove by damage. This will mean that there's a certain amount of chance every time the player is damaged for the state to be removed. Right now, this will make it so there's a 100% chance that this state will be removed when the player is damaged by it. So if we set it something like 20, there'd be a 20% chance that this state will be removed when the actor is hit with a skill or item or damage anyway from the enemies. Oh, okay. Next comes walking. Now, this will occur to states that you can have outside of battles, and this just simply means this is how many steps it'll take for this state to be removed from the actor. So if we set it to like 20 steps, that means this state will be removed from an actor after walking on the world map for 20 steps. Next comes the messages. These will just be simple battle log messages that appear on the very top when the player is afflicted with the state, inflicted with the state persists, and it's removed. So pretty much what you do is just say, if the actor's name goes here, it'd be like, actor has obtained the my state. Yeah. And if the enemy's afflicted with it, you could do something else. So we'd say like, has afflicted the state. We could put like, got da. Well, I'm just gonna leave it. Got the my this is a mess. But anyway, if the state persists, this is what appears if the state continues on each and every turn. So if it's still on a certain turn, this message will appear. So we'll say if the state persists, still has my state. And when the state is removed, this message will play. So it could say target names. We can do apostrophe s. My state was removed. Yeah. So as you can see, it's not really that complex, but it does take a lot of explanation to explain how this affects the battle mechanics of the game. Now, we did all this, but we actually haven't done the most important part, which is the actual effects that the state afflicts onto the actor, which is going to be used through this traits part right here. Now, if you may have noticed, this traits section has been reoccurring a lot in all of our little tutorials. For example, in the actors, we have a traits bar right here. Same thing occurs in the classes, as you see right here, the weapons, as you see right here, the armors right here, and finally the states, which we're working on right now. Now, as you can probably guess, all these traits all affect the actor depending on whether the actor has this item, weapon, armor, class, etc. And for the most part, if you go in here, you'll find that, oh my gosh, there's so many different traits to choose from. And we'll actually go into the next video, where we'll actually review each and every trait and its effect. But for the time being, we're just going to take something very simple, like go in here, go to parameter, attack, is times 50%, which means when this player is affected by this state, its attack is going to be reduced by 50%, meaning it has only half the attack now. Yeah, so let's once again review exactly what the state is. It's called My State. It has this icon. If the player has this state, he cannot move at all, which means all of his turns are skipped. In terms of being shown on the player's actual screen, it is a priority of 20, which means it's pretty low and probably other icons will override it. Its motion will be dead, which means the player will be lying there dead. It'll have a silence overlay, which means it'll have the silence icon flying above its head. We have a condition that removes at the battle end, which means at the end of the battle, all these states, for all the people that have this state will have it removed. We have remove by restriction checked off, which means it can't be removed by any other states. Another way it can be removed is that if the player has it for 3 turns in a battle, then it'll be removed. It can also be removed by having the player be hit, and there's a 20% chance it will be removed. Finally, if you somehow get this state outside of battle, you can remove by walking 20 steps. It has all these messages that can be played, and the effects it does have on the player is that it removes 50% of the player's attack. Oh, okay. So the real question is now, how do you actually get one of these states onto an actor or enemy? And the answer is, you have multiple choices, but one good way to do it is just go to skills, go to the effects, so go to like skill 11, give it an effect that does state, and just add the state you wish to use, 100% chance, or you can make it like 50% chance. And this makes it so that when this skill is used on an enemy or actor, it's going to add the state, My State, or at least it's going to have a 50% chance to do so when this attack hits. Another way to change a state is go to the change state right here for an event, set a certain actor or the entire party to gain a certain state, add or remove the state, and then select the state you wish to use. So for this example, if we set this to this event right here will make it so this actor will add My State to that person. So this will happen when this event is run. And so that's pretty much all for this video. It's very confusing, but I would highly recommend just going through and testing on each and every state and seeing how they work in your game. Next video, we'll be going over the final part of the battle mechanics, which will be the traits of your armors, weapons, your states, your classes, and your actors, and how they all interact with each other, and what each and all those stats and weird things do. But that's all for this tutorial. Until next time, RPG Maker tutorial end. Oh.
Okay. Just gonna set that to okay for now. Apply. Here we go. Okay, next one. Gonna update the description again. Description is updated. If you're open to refreshing the stream, then yeah, go ahead and do it. And then that way you'll see it. I've been playing these in a much smaller window that you guys can't see because this is picking up one monitor and not my stream is picking up my main monitor and not my side monitor, my second one. But how I'm doing this is I had to play it in a much smaller window so that I could see my OBS and make sure that the audio from these YouTube tutorials are coming through. So I figured I would try it out. Well, okay, what I meant to say is I figured I would keep it minimized or lowered just so I can like continue to mess around and keep playing with the audio just to see if it's actually coming through, and it is, so I don't think I have anything to worry about anymore.
Here we have them, traits. If we look in the very top right of this box right here, we'll find our special little traits box located right here. We mentioned these quite a few times throughout the previous tutorials, but today's video is going to be focusing on purely traits. And there is a lot of information to go through. For the most part, traits can be best described as traits. They're just various aspects that an actor or enemy can hold throughout the game. Now, if you may have remembered, there's going to be a lot of things that take into account for giving traits to your actors. So for example, an actor, say for our, I'm just going to call this T from now on, our T actor, this person can have the traits from this box right here, but they'll also have the traits from their class, which is a hero class, which we'll find right here, which are going to be all these. Furthermore, since this person's going to be holding a weapon and armors, like you can see down here, they're going to have all the traits from all the weapons, such as a sword right here, and all the armors they're equipping, so right here. And finally, they're going to have all the traits from the state they could have afflicted with. So for example, if they're afflicted with sleep, they're going to have all these traits right here. And that's pretty much the gist of how traits work. Pretty much an actor's traits is going to be the sum of everything they have currently equipped or afflicted with. And finally, we're also going to traits for the enemies. Since the enemies aren't going to be really holding weapons or armors or classes, you don't have to worry about those. So pretty much you can put all the enemies' traits you want in here. Though if you do afflict an enemy with a state, they will still have the state's traits also. But enough of this. Let's go back to our actors tab and let's actually get started in going through each and every trait in existence. And yes, it's going to be a lot of information. I would not try and recommend memorizing these all at once. I would recommend either just skipping the video if you're not really interested in making a very in-depth battle system, or just sitting through and trying to pick up some things here or there that you really stood out for you. And like I said just now, most of these are going to be based in the battle system. And so a lot of people say like, hey, you can't really make a really complex or your own unique battle system in RPG Maker MV. And to some degree, that's true. But the truth is, if you become a master of these traits, you can create some pretty unique game aspects that a lot of normal RPG Maker games won't usually contain. And so, enough wasting time, let's get straight into these traits. And we're going to start right off with the rate tab right here. And the rate tab is going to refer to effects that affect how the actor or enemy takes damage or attacks. So for example, this first one right here is the element rate. As you can see, we have all the elements listed in our game. If you want to make your own elements, what you do is you go down to types and you just create your own elements right here. But anyway, what's going to happen is these element trait right here things going to allow you to set a certain trait for the element like receiving damage rate. So the best way to describe it is if I put 50% right here and I put say water, this means this actor will now receive 50% the normal damage you would normally get for being hit with a water damage skill. If you recall also, to take damage from a skill, you set the element right here and set it to whatever you want. But yeah, enough wasting time. Go back here, let's go in here. So that's what an element rate does. If we set it 200, they take double damage from water skills. So if you want to create like some sort of like weakness or strength system from like Pokemon where like 200 would be super effective, 50% will be like not very effective, 0% would make so they're completely unaffected by a skill that has water damage. But yeah, that's really up to you. Next comes the buff rate. We're going to skip this for now because we haven't really gone over the buffs, but it works the same way as a state rate, which is this is going to affect the chance in which this state will actually affect you if an opponent attempts to put it onto an actor or enemy. So what I mean with this, if I say put my state here, then put say 50%, that means if this person's ever hit with a skill that would normally always have a 100% chance of afflicting my state, this would reduce it down to 50%. So if we go to one of our skills we created in the previous tutorial, the one right here it is, our ice skill. It has a 50% chance of adding my state. Now if we...
Oh. Okay, fine. Let's just delete that. Right, so... I did this very incorrect. Shit. Okay. So, like, for what? Oh, no, wait, it's under types. I'm going to change the name of this to Lance. I'm going to change the name of this to Mace. Dagger, sword, mace, lance, axe, whip, cane, bow, crossbow, gun, claw, glove. So 13, 14, 15, 16. Wait, hold up. Sword, lance, axe. I'm just gonna get rid of what I don't need real fast. Okay, 6 weapons and 4 spell types. There. Then now I can get rid of that. So now I think I can come up with I guess this is how I make multiple different weapon types. Like how Fire Emblem does the like Slim Sword, Iron Sword, Steel Sword, Silver Sword, Brave Sword, that type of affair. Ow. I'll add one. Fireball. A low power elemental spell that deals that can burn its target. Weapon type elemental. Price 50. Animation Fire 1. Magic attack 10. Attack element fire. Burned times 20% chance of burn. I'd have to like actually do some research and see how other things like SRPG Studio or how even Fire Emblem does its rate conversions, mostly because I'm thinking about this in terms of like Fire Emblem like Blazing Blade, you know what I mean? And Fire Emblem Sacred Stones too. I guess that's a big source of inspiration for me. I want to see what song this is. Dang, we must have passed the song I really like really early. We're already close to the end of this playlist. It's gonna loop, but oh wait, it's shuffling, that's why. Okay, CJ, lesson learned. This is why you double check your Spotify. It's gonna do 2 more songs: Danso Lullaby by Mondo Loops and Softy, and High Sun by J-Hov. before it goes back to the very first song of the playlist. Cherry Tree by Thibaut the Traveler. Cool. I'm just having fun listening. You know? Because it's a peaceful song, and I quite like that.
We go back to our actor. We also said, so it has a 50% rate for adding my state. So if someone tried to use the ice skill against this actor, 50% times 50% would make it so it's a 25% chance for this actor to be afflicted with my state if they use a skill that afflicts my state. Yep, it's that confusing. But finally we have an easy one, which is state resist, which just makes it so that this actor or enemy cannot be afflicted with this state. So if we put something like sleep, that'll make it so this actor right here cannot be afflicted with sleep whatsoever. And that's pretty simple, and that's pretty much it. Next we go into the param tab. Another fun tab's gonna be very fun to explain. Right here we're gonna find a list of all the stats in our game, or parameters I guess you'd call them. And these will just simply be the ability to manipulate them by a certain percent. So if we set this to 50%, that means this actor's magic attack will be multiplied by 50% or halved. So if this actor has 20 magic attack, this trait will cause it to have 50. And now if this person has multiple of these, say like one on the actor, one on the class, one on the enemy, one on the like weapon or armor, they're all gonna be multiplied together. So if I put like magic attack times 50 here, then put like magic attack times 300 on like a weapon, those two together.
I want to check something actually. Yeah, that works for now.
Together we make magic attack times 150, I believe.
Wait, I have a really stupid idea. Name internally Dennison, nickname Denny.
Because 300 times
that's a stupid idea because it's a play on the word denizen.
Yeah,
I kind of like
just
that.
For the most part, this allows you to manipulate the base parameters. Next comes the EX parameters. Now these are going to be a special type of parameter that by default will start at 0%, but you can add more pretty much. So what we have here is hit rate, evasion rate, critical evasion, magical reflection, counterattack, HP regeneration, MP regeneration, TP regeneration, hit rate. This is the chance that the skill or item you're using is going to hit, assuming it's not set to certain hit. So if this is set to 100%, as you see right here, that means there's going to be a 100% chance of everything hit perfectly. But if you look in our little class place right here, you notice that by default our class is going to be given a 95% rate, which means there's going to be a 95% chance of the move hitting. Now next comes the evasion rate, as you look right here. Evasion rate. Now evasion rate and hit rate are two separate things actually. First is you can calculate the hit rate and determine whether or not the actor is going to hit someone. Next, it calculates the evasion rate and checks to see if the target evades something. So if we set this to 50% right here, this will mean there's a 50% chance of this actor to evade an enemy's attack, which, like I said before, is going to be unaffected by the enemy's hit. It's just two separate calculations. Also want to keep in mind of the magic evasion. Now the magic evasion...
Okay, going through this, I'm going to be honest, like, I've been approaching this, like, learning project with a lot of different like ambitions in mind, but I'm really starting to see why people eschew doing a lot of people just eschew doing encounter rates in RPG Maker games and do horror games where you just like completely trip things up with like triggers in the overworld. I'm really starting to see that now. I mean, I'm going to keep going through this. It's going to be like, and I'm going to let you guys keep hearing it. It's going to be very interesting, I think, to learn all of this. But I got to scale back, man. I got to figure out maybe not what kind of thing I want to make in RPG Maker, because I want to keep going through these tutorials. But the thing that I'm thinking too is like, I want to also try to figure out what exactly it is that I want to get out of this engine. Because for the time being, I don't know. The song is The Guiding Wind by Tenno.
It's going to be the same thing as normal evasion. The difference is a hit type. If we go to our skills right here, we'll find that there's a hit type between magical attack, physical attack, and certain hit. Certain hit guarantees a move is going to hit. Physical attack, that's going to be affected by normal evasion, and magical attack is going to be affected by magical evasion. So using these three types of hits, you can customize a certain type of evasion system in your game. So if you want to have a skill or state that causes like 100% physical evasion, then that person's going to dodge all physical attacks, but it's not going to be able to dodge all magical attacks. Finally, we're going to go down to the next one, which is going to be critical rate, the chance in which you're going to do a critical evasion. This subtracts from the user's critical rate. So for example, if this person's attacked by an enemy that has 50% critical rate, then this critical evasion will reduce that critical rate to 0%, since 50 minus 50% equals 0. Furthermore, we also have magical reflection. This is a chance in which if the enemy uses a magical attack, it'll be reflected back at them. So if we did 20% like this will mean there's a 20% chance that when a magic hit move is used on this actor, it's going to be reflected. Counter attack is the same thing, only it applies to physical moves. Next we have HP regeneration, which is going to be amount of HP that's regenerated every turn. If we set it to 5%, it's going to be 5% HP regenerated every turn. If we set it to negative 5%, it'd actually be removing HP. So you use this for something like poison, or you'd use this for something like some sort of magical healing item or healing sword, or armor, or state, or something that gains the HP. And the same thing applies to MP and TP, just you can set it to a positive or negative number to make the player or enemy gain or lose TP or MP throughout each turn. Whew. And finally comes SP parameters. These are by default start at 100% and can be brought down to like 0 or brought up to 1000 like so. I think so, right? No. Well, anyway, let's go through. So target rate, if this is set to 100, that means it's going to be a just normal 100 target rate. But if we set this to something like 150, it's going to increase the chances in which an enemy is going to attack this actor. So if it's set to 150, it's going to be a greater chance. If it's going to be set to 50, it's going to lower the chance. So you can use this to create like a state that decreases the target rate to make so it doesn't get hit as much, or increase the target rate to make so the enemies attack this person a lot more often. The guard effect, this is going to be how effective guard will be. 100% means it's just going to be the default guarding effect, which is going to divide all damage by 2. But if we set it to 200%, it's going to double that. So it's going to be divided by 4, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it'll double the effect of the guard effect. And the guard effect occurs when you use the skill guard and use this specific tag right here, which is guard state 100%. So going back to our actors, going back here, we're going to go back to our SP parameters. Next is recovery effect. this is how effective recovery will be. 100% will be the default amount. But we set it to 200. That means it'll get double recovery. So you can once again make like an armor that gives double recovery than usual. Also, pharmacology. Recovery effect should affect, say, like, I'm not sure what this affects actually. Wow, this is bad. Well, I believe recovery effect affects pharmacology or whatever. Wow, this is bad.
Okay, so gonna pause that for a second. So y'all can't see this, but he put up a thing on the screen that says recovery effect is how effective healing is. For example, if it is 200%, when the user heals 15 HP, it would actually heal 30 HP, which is self-explanatory. That makes a decent degree of sense, you know? I'm not doing things out of sequence, am I? Today's Friday, right? Yeah. Friday, September 15th. Good lord.
Bad. Well, I believe recovery effect affects...
Time is a flat circle.
Pharmacology, or whatever this is, affects items.
Okay. So he's not sure on pharmacology either. Pharmacology... I'm gonna pull this up. Parameters, SP parameters. So, pharmacology. So, pharmacology is how effective items are. For example, if it is 200%, the user can use a healing item on an ally and it will heal double the amount. Okay, so that's the biggest difference here. Recovery effect is for healing spells. Pharmacology is for healing items. Like that makes the most sense.
And recovery effect affects skills. I'm so sorry, I should know this. But anyway, MP cost rate. If this is set to 100, MP is going to cost normal amount defined in the skills tab. But if you set to 200, it's going to cost double. Or if you set to 50, it's going to cost half. So once again, you create an armor, a weapon, a state that like restricts or increases the amount of MP costing for each skill. Same thing applies to TP charge rate, except it's going to be how much TP is charged every time the player is damaged. Once again, it's going to be 100% for the default amount of TP that's recharged every time the player is hit, or it can be set to something like 10 to make it so it's really low, 200 or 299 to make it so that's going to make it so the TP is recharged a lot more when the player is hit with an attack. Physical damage, this is going to increase the damage in which an actor or enemy receives physical damage. So if it's set to 200, this actor will receive double physical damage. If it's set to 50, like so, this actor is going to receive half of normal physical damage. Same applies to magical damage. Remember, these are both affected by the hit type, so physical hit, magical hit. Floor damage, this is going to affect how much damage is taken from outside of battles, such as if you have an event in which a player walks onto, it causes damage to the entire party. If you set this to 50, it halved that damage. If you set it to 200, it doubled the damage from the floor. And finally comes experience. By 100%, this will just be the normal amount of experience. 50%, this will make it so this person gains, just say, half of the normal experience when they win a battle or whatever. And 200% will make it so this person will gain double experience. And so you can use this in, like, once again, like an armor that we want to have, like, super increased experience. Perhaps you have an actor with, like, a super ability that makes sure they gain double experience or half experience. You can use this. Next is the attack tab, and all of these right here affect your normal attack. Now, to determine what a normal attack is, if we go to our skills, we'll find this little thing right here called add state normal attack. And this is a special built-in state that says that, hey, this skill is going to be a normal attack and it's going to be affected by the traits that affect normal attacks. So going back to the attack tab, we'll find that we have the attack element, which is going to affect the element that's going to be used in terms of damage for your attacking. Attack state, which means the chance in which when this user uses their attack, there's a chance that it will actually add a state using this attack. So if you created a special sword that may give poison by 60% every time they use a normal attack, you can do that. Attack speed is just going to add speed onto your normal speed whenever you use a normal attack. So we set it to 200. This actor, or if you use it on an enemy, that enemy will gain an extra 200 speed when using their normal attack. And finally, attack times. This can be additional times an attack is used. So for example, if this is set to 3, and the player uses their normal attack skill, or a skill that has an attack flag, that means it's going to gain an additional...
Attack times plus? This reminds me of, like, Final Fantasy III. Specifically, Final Fantasy III's DS remake, which is available on Steam, and I will prove it right the hell now. So I go into my library, not recent activity, like not playable stuff. I'll do like everything. There you go. Final Fantasy 3 3D Remake. This is the thing that appeared on DS like all those years ago. And like, God, when did this come out? Like 2003, 2004? No. What, DS wasn't out in 2004. This would have had to come out in like 2005. At least. One of these days, maybe I'll play it on stream. I think that would be a great idea. And hey, it doesn't even have a lot of install space. 594.86 megabytes. That's not a lot. I like that.
Attack times. Whew. Next comes the skills. Now this is pretty simple. Similar to how weapons have certain types that require you to have them equipped, the same thing applies to skills. Currently, by default, there's only 2 types, which is magic and special, but by adding this, you can make so, hey, now this actor can use magic skills, or they can use special skills right here. Furthermore, you can also seal skill type, which keeps them from using any types of skills that they may have that have in one of these 2 things. Add skill, which is going to add the skill to the player's arsenal of skills when this thing is equipped. So if it's set to add skill heal on like a weapon or armor, equipping that weapon and armor gives that skill. And once again, seal like skill, which of course, once again, it makes...
Add skill, that's like how it works in, let's say, like Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and Tactics A2. That's cool, actually.
So if you have that skill and you equip this weapon, armor, or have this state,
this
you
is
can no longer use that skill.
This is the most fascinating tutorial I've watched.
Next comes the equip tab. Same thing. Equip weapon, you can choose what types of weapons this player is allowed to equip. Equipped armor, you can select the types of armor this player is allowed to equip. Lock equip, this makes it so that a specific slot on your actor's armor pretty much is not able to be changed. So if this is set to shield, that means this actor cannot change their shield. And if we also have the seal equipped, instead of not being able to change it, they actually can't use anything on that specific thing. So if you create like a double-handed sword, you can like seal the shield type right here, making it so this actor cannot use a shield type, assuming you have that trait within the sword weapon traits. Finally, we also have slot type, and this just makes it so you can have a dual wielding, which means the shield is going to be replaced with another weapon slot. It's another built-in thing that you can use.
Fun.
Finally, we get to the others tab. Now here comes a very complex thing called action times. Now action times, for each time an actor has an action times.
Oh wait, I love this song. I'm gonna rewind this thing a bit. Mostly because I want you guys to experience this song. This is one of my favorites. Mystic Mountain by Purple Cat. God, shout out to Lofi Girl, Lofi Records, Lofi Publishing. I'm so glad that this song, one of my favorite Lo-Fi songs, is free to use. This is awesome. Turning this up a bit more. Or not. That's fine. Okay. I'll continue on with the tutorial. Let's just keep it going.
That you can use. Finally, we get to the others tab. Now here comes a very complex thing called action times. Now action times, for each time an actor has an action times on like a weapon, an armor, or a class, it's all going to be separate, and each one's going to be calculated separately. But what do, you ask? Well, they have a chance of adding another action for your turn. So if this is set to 50%, this means this actor, when they have a turn, there's a 50% chance they'll get another turn. Now if they had 50% on here and then 50% on the sword, that means both chances will be run separately. So there's a chance that they get 3 attacks if like all 3, if they have the normal attack, plus the actor attack trait and the weapon attack trait plus, then you have 3. On the other hand, it's possible that 1 is true and 1 is false, so then you only have 2 attacks, or perhaps both of the chances fail and you are stuck with the default 1 attack action thingy. Next comes the special flags. These are just very special flags that can affect like an actor or an enemy. So auto battle will make it so this actor will automatically battle for you and don't have to touch anything. Guard, this will mean that this is going to be like a special guarding state and the actor's going to have the guard effect turned on for them. We can have substitute. This means this actor will actually sometimes guard and protect certain actors when they're at low HP. And finally we have preserve TP. And this makes so this actor preserves their TP outside of battle. By default, TP is randomized and brought down to a very low number at the beginning of each battle, but if you preserve it on an actor, then that makes it so TP is saved outside of battle. We also have collapse effect. This is actually specific for enemies and can customize different collapse effects for each enemy. And we also have party ability. This makes it so this party gets a special ability if this actor is inside the party. Encounter half makes it so the encounters are half of the chance of normal encounters. Encounter none removes all encounters. Cancel surprise makes it so it's impossible for a surprise enemy attack. Raise preemptive means it raises the chances in which the actors may have a preemptive attack on the enemies. Gold double means the amount of gold gained from killing enemies is doubled. And double item and drop item double makes it so it's double the amount of dropped items from defeating enemies. Alright, so here we have it. We're all done. I don't really know what else to say. I would recommend also checking out the help file right here. So go to help, contents, and here you can actually find a list of all those traits written out in text form. Once opened, you can actually scroll down this left side and go to where it says how to set traits. And this will give an explanation of all.
Oh wow, look at that. There's even a tutorial thing like right here. Okay.
All the traits. It won't give as much in-depth explanation as I attempted to give in this video, but if you ever get lost or confused, I'd recommend just coming here to dig a very general explanation. And if you have any questions, ask in the comments below. I know I didn't do a perfect job of explaining things, but I hope I gave you a general idea of how each thing worked. And that's all for this video. Until next time, RPG Maker tutorial, and...
Okay, so... I'm just gonna stop with the tutorials from here because one thing that I can do now at least is try to make another map in this place. No. Oasis Town Fortune Tent. Dungeon. Oh wait. Five by 6. No, I'm making this larger. By 7. Wait, no, that looks like poison tile. gotta find a decent floor tile for this. So it's like red at the bottom and like darker white walls, sort of. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's a poison swamp. Oh, hold up. Wait. No. Wait, no. Actually, gonna go ahead and edit the height of this again. What does this do? That's what I want to know. You know what? Hold on. That actually looks nice. What the hell? I like that. Wait, no, I need to do events. Quick event creation, transfer. Yeah, retain. So then I need to go into this map. Quick event creation, transfer. Ah, damn, my finger hurts. After I finish this, there's a video that I'll play for the stream from a content creator called Toasty Time. Like 13 minutes and 26 seconds. How to make your RPG Maker game stand out. Beginner tips. That I think would really help. Okay. Now let me run this. You tell anyone this is charity and I'll kill you. Okay. Yeah, no, I'll leave this. Okay, one thing I want to look up. What's with the tiles in the yard tab? They're numbered from left to right and are each one a different color. Regions. Did you not use regions in ACE or areas in VX? They work the same way. By default, the only thing you could do with them is control random encounters under map properties. The plugins allow you to do many other things with them. Look up information on map settings and encounters. You should find something there about how to use them. Okay. Hold up, I like this song. Wanderer by Dry Hope. These songs are so good, man, I swear. Okay. I saw something I probably shouldn't have just there. It does not matter what that was. Alright. Weird that there isn't like a crystal ball setting. Is there like a plant or something I can set? So I'm gonna save that for a rainy day. Oh, I see. But it also means I need to shrink this room down some more. Right, the NPCs are events, aren't they? I'll use this. Welcome to my house. As you can see, I've knocked over many chairs because I get so tilted at the towers. Okay. I crack myself up sometimes. That's a little fancy, actually. I quite like it. Oops. Wait, show choices. But this is neither tilted nor a tower. Well, you see, it's a gamer pad. But that's okay. At this point, I'm just having fun. Yo, you want to learn how to do a fucking infinite? Welcome to my house. As you can see, I've knocked over many chairs because I get so tilted at the towers, but this is neither tilted nor a tower. Well, you see, it's a gamer pad. Not many girls come in here because I get friend zoned so frequently. But that's okay. I really just want to go all out with this interaction. I want to be in the friend zone. I like friends. It's not as pleasant as you think. Right here. It's not as pleasant as you think. They don't treat you like a man. They treat you like an item. By the way, if someone comes across this stream and is like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, it's all a reference. It's all a joke. Oh no, wait. Show choices. Well, I'm not a gamer. So maybe they'll respect me. You see, that's the difference between you and me, Denny. I'm an alpha gamer. You can see she's desperately trying to stifle her laughter. Anyways, where are we dropping, boys? There. Now it should play the whole conversation. Welcome to my house. As you can see, I've knocked over many chairs because I get so tilted at the towers, but this is neither tilted nor a tower. Well, you see, it's a gamer pad. Not many girls come in here because I get friend zoned so frequently, but that's okay. I want to be in the friend zone. I'd like friends. It's not as pleasant as you'd think. They don't treat you like a man. They treat you like an item. I'll never be more than just an accessory to these women. Well, I'm not a gamer, so maybe they'll respect me. That just, like, or that must, I'm supposed to say that just, Concerned Doge. Hi, Usagi Lee. Welcome to the stream. That just makes you a beta cuck. You see, that's the difference between you and me, Denny. I'm an alpha gamer. You can see she's desperately trying to stifle her laughter. Anyways, where are we dropping, boys? Oh, it works. There. Okay, where's my tile sets? Here we go. Ow, damn. At this point in the stream, if you're watching, I'm just like taking the piss out of everything and also testing a few things. Right, I need to... Same as characters. It works. Okay, that was fun. Now, before I finish up the stream, I'm going to play this next video live on stream, and I will link it in the description. Don't worry.
Selling an RPG.
Okay, so before I do that, copy the URL. There.
Selling an RPG Maker game is hard. I mean, not in the sense that getting it onto a distribution platform is hard, but it is hard to make your game stand out. Unless it has sexy hentai ladies. Oftentimes, potential customers will take one look at your project, see it was made in RPG Maker, and just not look any further. So, how do you make your project stand out so that it can be a commercial success? Well, today I'll go over my philosophy on just that, and hopefully from this video you'll be able to make a profit selling your game, and be on the road to achieving your game dev dreams. And yes, I do think you can make a commercially successful RPG Maker game. It's just a tad bit harder than in other engines. Also, throughout this video we shall be joined by the omniscient Steel from Studio Blue, who shall comment on everything I say and make me seem smarter than I really am.
Hey there, Toasty, it's Steel. You're smart.
Subscribe to Toasty.
Thank you, Steel. Very cool.
Part 1. Graphics.
You cannot make a game that will sell with the default RPG Maker graphics. Now wait, let me explain. I know that's a very big statement, and I know many people will disagree, and I'm also willing to admit that there are exceptions to this statement. So, before you all mass unsub, let me make this distinction. You can make a good game with the default graphics given to you with the engine. However, you cannot make a game that will stand out when you're trying to sell it. Does that mean the game won't sell? No, not necessarily. However, consider this. On Steam and many other distribution platforms, potential customers tend to only look at the visuals you present to them, the screenshots or trailer, and maybe the short description or tagline you've given too. Graphics are a massive factor in grabbing people's initial interest, and there are so many games on Steam or itch.io or GameJolt that use the default RTP. The people are tired of seeing the exact same art over and over again.
I have an idea. Yeah, that should be fine. Let me just check and see how that looks in my OBS. Perfect. It's even taking up some of the dead space.
And there are plenty of things you can do with the RTP to make it look good. However, regardless of this, the game just still won't stand out. These methods to improve the RTP and make it look better have been done 100 times over, and we've gotten to a point where almost any form of the RTP is instantly recognizable and instantly disliked, because it's become almost as bad as just stock graphics at this point. For the most part, if you make a game with the RTP, most of the people who will buy your game will be RPG Maker developers. That's fine, but it isn't really a success. Basically, all I'm saying is that first impressions are everything. You've got to hook any and all potential customers immediately, and the RTP just won't do that. Even using an asset pack is better, though Time Fantasy is also incredibly overused. Now, it isn't that the RTP or Time Fantasy pack look bad. Visually, I think they're completely fine. They just aren't unique anymore, and they just don't stand out. If you need to use an asset pack, find a more obscure one, or modify one in some way. You don't have to be amazing at art to make small edits to existing work, as long as doing so is allowed for that pack. But realistically, if you slow down for a moment and do the research, see the RPG Maker games that sell and stop brushing away reality, you'll see that really you just have to commission custom artwork if you can't draw. At least, if you want your game to be a commercial success, that is. Like I said before, you can make a good game with the RTP, and it's possible if you make your game amazing enough in other areas it will sell. But realistically, you'll end up just being another RPG Maker developer with just another RPG Maker project in the eyes of the general public. Also, as a final footnote, make sure to pay extra attention to your title screen. If you're going to use RTP, at least create a custom title screen. The title screen is the very first thing the player will see when they load up your game. Besides splash screens, make those pretty too. And like I said before, first impressions are everything to keeping a player's initial interest. Past that initial first impressions, graphics generally won't carry a game, though they can in some cases. But graphics are important, and don't let anyone tell you they aren't. If your title screen looks like this, say bye-bye to that purchase because your game is getting refunded.
Hello everyone, this is Steel from Studio Blue, and I want to add on to what Toasty says about graphics. Style is of the utmost importance, and you need to make sure that your graphical style is consistent the entire time. Don't mix and match tile sets and character sets that aren't from similar packs, and don't have those default chibi MV hero side battlers. Don't have those fighting against full-size humanoid enemies. And please don't use hand-drawn graphics unless everything else is the same thing. Consistency is key.
In addition to all the info I had in part 1 about first impressions in regards to a game's graphics, I'd like to now add some additional and more in-depth thoughts about game design onto that. Consider this. Design your first level last. Now let me explain. If you design your game backwards, then by the time you've reached the start, you'll have learned a ton of tips and tricks or quirks about your game and its world that will ensure the player has a good first 30 minutes to an hour, which will secure those good first impressions. You could also just design your game start to finish. However, if you do it this way like I do because I'm a dumbass, you'll look back on the first portion of your game and go, I can do this so much better now. And thus the endless cycle of remakes begins. Actually, to go on a bit of a tangent, I really want to stress how important it is to avoid doing too many remakes and getting stuck in development hell. While redoing portions of your game, either because you've improved yourself as a developer or from hearing player feedback is important, it's also important to actually release your game at some point. Your game can't sell if you just keep remaking it over and over and never take the plunge to just release it. Eventually you have to just be confident in yourself and just release your game. It may not be perfect, but it never really will be, and it's important to recognize how far you've come and how much you've achieved. Eventually you just have to be satisfied and then move on to your next project. Also, to move on to my next rant, language is super duper ultra supreme important. I've touched on this before in other videos, but typos, poor grammar, characters with no personality, unfitting or bad jokes, and more are the biggest killers of your average RPG Maker game. Believe it or not.
You know, he says that, but all of the funnies that I've been seeing from the tutorials I've been watching, they kind of make it better, in my opinion. Granted, I do remember when I was in college studying game design, we had a couple typos in our final project for a class, and yeah, we got docked points for like spelling mistakes that we left in because we thought it was funny, and the teacher of the class didn't seem to think that it was all that funny, to be honest with you, and he was entitled to that opinion. We still aced the project, but we got docked points for that type of affair. But you know what? That's fine. It's all part of a learning process. and it's all part of growth, you know? So, like, I don't regret that one bit. Alright, moving on.
People really do pay attention to grammar and spelling. While the average player may not pick up on some subtle symbolism or writing with deeper meaning, they will absolutely pick up on poor spelling and grammar. If English isn't your first language, you absolutely must get someone to proofread your game's script or hire a professional editor. That's non-negotiable if you're trying to sell your game. If English is your first language, then write your dialogue like it is. Playtest the heck out of your game and pay attention to the spelling. Trust me, it's really important.
Hey everyone, Steele from Studio Blue again, and I'm going to add on to what Toasty said about first impressions. I cannot stress this enough. You have 10 minutes or less to hook your player. It doesn't matter how good your game gets. If you haven't done something to grab their attention within that time, you've lost them.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
I mean, think about it. Are you going to message each and every player and tell them how the game gets better in just a few more minutes? Of course not. Hook your player,
Yes.
10 minutes
Oh.
or less, that's all you get.
Part 3. Sound design.
I cannot stress enough how incredibly important sound design is in video games. To clarify, when I say sound design, I don't mean the music of a game. Though music is important, I feel like most every developer knows this and makes use of it. However, not every developer I've seen has paid enough attention to their game's sound effects as they should. Sound effects sell the reality of a scene. Even if a scene is completely fantasy and could never happen in the real world, you can make it feel grounded and real within that fantasy world with proper use of sound design. Make your world come alive, have doors creak open in that old abandoned building, have the soft sounds of nature flow through the forest, and have the sounds of your character's footsteps change depending on what they're walking on. All of these things and more will bring your world to life. And while using music in addition to them is important too, using only music makes a game feel incredibly flat. A lot of RPG Maker developers do not pay attention to sound design, and I have seen almost no trailers at all include sound effects in them. Sound effects are how a player interacts with and connects with your world, so when you don't include them in your game, how could a player possibly get invested? They will lose an integral part of the connection to your game's world, and if you don't include sound effects in your trailer, oftentimes even that seemingly insignificant detail will lose a potential customer. You have to craft an entire world here. If there's no sound design, then what's to stop the player from simply muting the game and playing their own music over top? Not focusing enough on sound design is a massive oversight, and if you want your game to stand out, make your sound design great. Even if your story is bad, noises can go a long way in drawing a player in. Noises also happen to be the second biggest thing a player notices in a trailer, and thus are very important to that first impression. Basically, don't brush sound design under the rug. If you want a more in-depth look at sound design, click the link above. That's all.
Yeah. That is also a point that I'd like to stress with games and sound design is when I was going through college, like, I carved my niche as a sound designer for games within my program. And, like, almost nobody wanted to work with me because everybody thought the same thing. That sound design was unimportant and it didn't matter during the scope of the project, just as so long as everything else got made. Like, I assisted with development of a lot of different things, and hold on. Excuse me. I assisted in development of a lot of different things, and I even got to test a lot of things, but my job as a sound guy didn't come in until much later on in the development cycle. By the time everything about the prototype or vertical slice that we were developing was all said and done with. And I even remember doing my capstone and being so useless in my team that we were trying to create a game, a something for we spent anywhere between 20 to 21 weeks on it. And the whole time, I was in a team with more programmers where there was maybe only one other designer besides me, and I was the audio guy. My team I don't want to say my team hung me out to dry, because they didn't. Like, I kind of did that to myself with what I ended up doing. But then, like, what ended up happening after that was it came down to, like, oh, what audio can we do? Like, what kind of music can we grab? What kind of, like, sound effects do we need? And as many times as I said, like, oh, let's go with this, and this, the things that they wanted were either things that I didn't know how to do in that given moment, or things that, like, I tried to get implemented, but they got thrown out completely regardless. Because, like, I was able to contribute, like, some sound effects to some of these things. But beyond that, we ended up using a lot of stock sound effects. We had one voice line that ended up getting recorded by someone else. Because, I don't know. And I was hoping to be able to put a song of mine into the thing, and all that ended up happening was we ended up grabbing a stock song from Kevin MacLeod, who puts a lot of royalty-free stuff on YouTube that you've definitely heard in, like, other people's Vines, Instagram videos, TikToks, sketch comedy, like, all that stuff. And I felt like the biggest piece of deadweight on my team. And the sad thing is, like, other people recognize that too, I think, but they were, like, too, like, I was so eyeballed deep into this that I couldn't just drop my team to, like, go elsewhere. And I couldn't really, like, ask for advice, because everybody else had their own, like, share of problems. In the end, we did end up making the project for our capstone, though not for lack of trying and not for lack of conflicts. And yeah, it just didn't work out. But that's a tale to go into more depth with another day. Okay.
Steele here again. Let's add on to what Toasty says about sound design. Now, everything Toasty said here and more. In 2D games where lighting isn't viable, sound is vitally important. Music, ambient sounds, and sound effects are characters in and unto themselves. Here's a good way to handle it. When going through the finalized version of your map, get a piece of paper and write down a list of anything present in your level that would make noise in real life. Then add a sound to it. Water pipe, ambient sound. Wooden floorboards, terrain sound. Fire in a steel barrel, proximity sound. Then turn off your music and play your map. It should, well, sound alive.
Effort.
Ah yes, good helpful advice, Toasty. Woohoo, put in effort? Yay, I'd make a good game now. Okay, wait, I can explain. Put in effort. By effort, I mean take the time to do more than just what the core RPG Maker engine offers you. I'm not saying go download every plugin in existence. In reality, you really only need around 20 to 30 plugins to make a complete game. However, I am saying take time to develop mechanics further than what comes in the engine. Use the default battle system if it fits your game. That's fine. It won't really stand out as it comes, but the default battle system can be done in interesting ways that will make it stand out. I've played quite a few games that have...
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I saw when this was published.
gorgeous animations,
June 21st,
some really
2020.
cool sound effects, and well-balanced combat that make this default combat fun and satisfying. Spend time testing and balancing your fights, checking as many areas as possible for bugs, and making things your own. Like I said above, use the default battle system all you want, but use it in your own unique way. Make everything about your game your own. Maybe not in a grand way, but in some way that's different. In most indie games, there's a hook, some unique idea to grab a player's attention. Focus on finding that hook for your game and amplifying it as much as you can. Make your entire game around around this hook, because this hook is your own. Nobody else has done it, and therefore your game will stand out with it. Your thoughts and ideas for this game are unique, so present them in a way that is unique as well. Just because you want to make a sprawling JRPG in a massive open world doesn't mean you have to make it exactly like all of these games. Just because you're using RPG Maker doesn't mean you get to stop being creative. Sure, the engine is easy to make games with, but it sure as heck isn't easy to make good games with.
Hey, it's Steele here again. Let's talk about effort. So it all comes down to this question. Would you buy your own game? People put their games online for others, but then complain that someone else charges $5 for their game. So put yourself in that other person's shoes. Would you spend $5 on your game, or would you complain to your friends that the dev is charging too much? If you can't look yourself in the mirror and truly believe that you would spend the price you're asking for on your game in its current state, then it's not ready to be sold.
Really, in the end, my best advice for getting your game out there commercially is to just have fun making it. Enjoying the process will, in turn, make the game much more fun for the player experiencing it. You have fun, we have fun, everybody wins in the end. Also, make the price of your game whatever you think fits the amount of effort you put in. Nobody else can tell you how to price your hard work, but make sure you don't undervalue yourself.
Hello everyone, this is Steele from Studio Blue. I want to add a few more things to what Toasty's been saying. When creating an RPG Maker game for commercial release, focus on something that makes your game unique among all others out there. Think about it like this. Even if your game has the most streamlined stories, the most compelling characters, the flashiest graphics, the catchiest soundtrack, it won't gain any traction if it's a plotline that others have seen before. Princes going to save their countries, valiant heroes taking on the Dark One, and the rise of a protagonist from rags to riches. It's been done already. It's been done to death. Do something else. It's not easy to hear that, I know, but as Toasty pointed out, RPG Maker games have to overcome an already negative reputation. Every little thing that you can do to set your game apart will be in its favor. Try taking a story and turning it on its head. Try starting in a place or with a character that no one has done before. If you really want to tell the story of your two brothers destined to fight on opposite sides of a war, or how a princess in disguise finds true love, do something else first. Garner a reputation as a developer who makes interesting, engaging, and unique games. Then do something people may have seen before, because people will already know that you can deliver. Steele out. Peace.
Best of luck with your games, my croutons. I know you can do it. Until next time, goodbye.
That ending was kind of funny. You know what? I'm gonna subscribe, because that was cool. And that was good, necessary advice to hear. I personally think so anyway. But yeah, that's gonna be where I cut this stream short. I learned a lot, and I took the piss out of a few things as I went along. Once I was done with the tutorials, I ended up learning even more things, and I ended up doing some wax poetic for a little bit there. Kind of similar but not really, to what happened during yesterday's stream when I kind of like broke off into a tangent there. If you're interested in seeing that, go find it. It's in the Get Me a Cold One stream for Valhalla Cyberpunk Bartender action. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this stream, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please consider liking the stream, subscribing to the channel, ringing the bell to get notified of future streams, and leaving a comment down below on what you thought of this stream. All that and more will definitely get this channel painted in a better light by the algorithm, and I thank you for your efforts so far. And thank you for continuing to engage with my shorts. I did not post one today because I knew that I was going to be doing this stream today, so we'll see what happens there. Hopefully this stream doesn't get copyright claimed because I accidentally played an Anna's Okay song and didn't realize it until later on, but I'll see what happens. So Saturday I have off tomorrow. I'm just going to spend some time relaxing, but I'm going to post my next schedule by then as well. Sunday I'm going to be playing more Sea of Stars. So as much as I want to say, like, yeah, I'll do another one of these learning streams, that's not going to come for at least a little while. Not until I figure out, I spend some time, maybe a week or so, figuring out exactly what it is I want to make using RPG Maker MV, because the more I delve into how mechanically these things go, the more I also realize how much in depth this is going to go. When I realize if I want to make something with this engine as part of this stream, as part of this channel, and put it out for people, then I need to scale back hard and like really figure out what I want to do as like a first time thing. So that's gonna take time. Like I said, maybe I'll take a week to figure it out, maybe not. But no RPG Maker next week, but week after next, yeah, 100% I'll continue going through the tutorials and see what happens. But by the way, I said earlier that this is my favorite song, so you guys can tell I'm just trying to stall for time while this song finishes itself out. Hey, it popped up on stream again, so why not just listen to it and talk over it? It's fun. It's fun. But with all that being said, you guys have been an excellent audience. Once again, this has been Pause and Effect Quick Play. I've been your host, CJ, and that's going to be it for me. Have an excellent rest of your night, everyone. Take care. Bye.